So I'm here with Athena, and I know that we had spoke recently that you would like to see her doing these behaviors a little bit more snappy, a little bit more enthusiastic, a little bit quicker, and we can definitely train for that. So one of the things that we generally train for when we're working with our pet dog clients is stability in behavior, meaning I want to tell my dog to do the behavior and they just do it until I tell them otherwise. So for instance, I'm going to go ahead and put her on place and we'll kind of talk about that a little bit. Heel, sit, place. So when we're teaching our client dogs how to do place, we want the place bed specifically to be a place where they can go there, stay there while I do something else. Maybe I'm making my breakfast or doing the dishes or I'm working my computer. It should be something where they can go there and stay there for a long time and be calm about it. They shouldn't be up there fussing and whining and barking and carrying on. Place, right? So we teach it in such a way that is going to promote a calm type of behavior. Go there and relax. Now, calm behaviors do not inherently lend themselves to being fast, snappy, intense, things like that. The comparison we see between Athena and her brother Dasher, who's also in for training, is vast differences in temperament. Dasher is a very drivey dog. He has a lot of desire to perform the behavior. So inherently, his behaviors are a lot faster, a lot quicker, a lot more intense. That being said, you know, we struggle a little bit with stability. So we've been trying to instill a lot of that in him, but naturally he's going to be a very kind of intense dog. Whereas Athena is a little bit less intense. She's got a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm, but she doesn't have a lot of drive and direction, which means when she's doing something, she's a little sloppy, a little all over the place. So when we can kind of calm her down a little bit, it does give the behaviors a little bit more reliability, a little bit more stability, and the ability to stay in those behaviors longer and more correctly, let's say. So when we want to increase the intensity of behaviors, we're trying to increase the enthusiasm for the behavior as well as the urgency for the behavior. So if we're going to start by increasing the enthusiasm, and we've done a little bit here, is we're going to start to increase the enthusiasm to the behavior or into the behavior. So we're going to start with the place bed. Place bed is the easiest thing to start any type of new technique or a new idea or concept with the dog because it's a behavior they know very well. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to release her from this place bed just as we had before, but we are going to start to change how we release our dog. We're going to start to change how we put our dog on the place bed to promote a more enthusiastic behavior. Now, what I must forewarn you is that when you increase the intensity and the enthusiasm, you're going to start to see a little bit of decline in stability, which means she might not go there and stay there as well, or she might start to have challenges with that again, but we are going to increase the intensity. So anytime we're trying to improve one thing, we might see something else struggle, right? If you have a dog with a really good downstay, you might have a really challenging recall, right? If you have a dog with a really good heel, you might have a challenge with a really good stay. But anyways, just as a preface to this. Free. So what we're going to do is we're going to be away from the place bed. No. Heel. We're going to be away from the place bed. We're going to say the word place, and then we are going to run to the place bed together, right? I am going to try to beat her there. The goal for her is going to be to beat me there. We're going to call it the race to place. So I'm going to go, place. And as soon as she gets on, I'm going to mark and free. All right. Now, if you notice, I did not go to her heel position to release her because we want to do this a lot. So we're going to do it again. Place. Yeah, good girl. Free. Ready? Place. Yeah, good girl. Free. Place. All right. Free. So in this game, what we're doing is we're going to increase the intensity to go to the place bed through enthusiasm, right? We're making it a game. When I say place, whoever gets to the place bed first wins. She always wins. Place! You see that? Free! Now, I could doubly increase the enthusiasm in this behavior of going to the place bed by releasing her off the bed to a reward. I am not willing to sacrifice her ability to stay on that place bed enough, so I'm still rewarding her on the place bed. All right? But if you did want to make it even faster, I would reward her off the place bed. So we're going to do it again. Place! Yeah, good girl. Ready? Free! Place! Good job. Free! Now, like I said, a couple of things that we can do when we're trying to increase our dog's speediness in doing these behaviors is not just the enthusiasm, but also the urgency. So we can create urgency through a little bit of aversive pressure. When I say aversive pressure, we're not like hurting the dog or really making it uncomfortable. It's just enough to say, hey, the faster you do this behavior, the faster this pressure stops. So we're going to use a leash a little bit for this here. Ready? Place. All right. As soon as she got to the place bed, that pressure stopped. Now, if you notice, we're not going too far away. Free. So I'm going to do it again. Place. Good. Free. And I'm not using much pressure. Place. Good. Free. Place. Good girl. Now, you don't want to use this technique until your dog has a very concrete understanding of what the place command means. It means go to the bed, stay there, right? If we are trying to teach the place bed and we are just using pressure in the very beginning, we can actually create a much slower send to place. I like to instill a lot of enthusiasm in the behavior first, and then say, not only do you like doing this, but now you have to do this, right? Now, we will do a very in-depth video on how we use the e-collar for all the different behaviors, but we're going to talk about it right now in the context of the send to place. So, free, you're free. When we use the leash, we say the command, we apply the pressure. As soon as she's on the bed, pressure turns off, right? So, place, pressure, pressure's off. Simple concept, right? The e-collar is going to work the same way, all right? So I have my e-collar set to her working level. It's about like a 12, and I'm going to have her come off the bed, free. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to go, place. I press the e-collar. As soon as she gets on, e-collar comes off. We mark, we reward. Okay? Free. Let me do it again. Place. Good job. Free. You can layer these on top of each other. So if she understands the leash pressure and we're starting the e-collar for the first time, we could do both together. So place. Now, the important thing is that we have appropriate timing, right? So ideally, if our dog understands the e-collar well enough up to this point, so I would definitely want to condition the e-collar before this. Once our dog understands the e-collar and we start to use it in this context, we want to make sure we're timing it with the cue, i.e. the word place, followed by the pressure, okay? Not simultaneous. Free. So I say the word before the pressure turns on. Place. The reason why that is important is because we actually have to give the dog's brain the opportunity to hear the word, comprehend what they just heard, and then attempt to do the behavior before the pressure starts at one of these points, right? So right now, we're teaching her that when you hear the command, you're going to feel pressure until you do the behavior. Now, we're going to start to slow down a little bit. We're going to slow down to give her the opportunity to beat us, right? Free. Now she's getting tired, right? You're free. So we're going to go, place. And so there, she was able to get onto the place bed faster than I could apply the pressure, right? Because I waited a little bit. So we love to use the analogy when we're talking about pressure. This is called negative reinforcement. The analogy of the seatbelt alarm in your car, right? You get in your car, you drive down the road without your seatbelt on, and your seatbelt alarm is going off, just ding, 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 the whole time. And it only stops when you buckle your seatbelt. So the same when we use pressure here, we apply that pressure until she gets onto the place bed, then the pressure turns off, okay? Now, I don't like hearing the seatbelt alarm, so what I do is I put my seatbelt on before I ever even get in my car, or before I even turn my car on, right? So I get in my car, I put my seatbelt on, then I start my car, okay? This way, I don't have to hear it at all. So ideally, if I tell her the place command, I want her to think if she gets to the place bed fast enough, she won't have to feel any pressure at all right? Free. Now, we do have to make sure that she fully understands this behavior before we start to apply the pressure, and especially if we're doing it in this fashion. Because if we say the word place, and she starts moving that way, and then she feels the e-collar but doesn't quite understand, maybe I'm doing something wrong, maybe this wasn't what I was supposed to be doing, she might think that we're punishing her for going towards the place bed, right? So this is another reason why we can help with the leash pressure, right, to make sure she understands we're going that way. And also making sure we start with that enthusiasm building in the beginning, like we did with just the race to place. There's no harm in spending time doing this without pressure, without the leash, right? Especially if we're in a fenced-in area like we are here. And we have a good relationship with the dog, that she's not going to go run off and play keep away, right? She's like, oh, I got the magic bag of food over here. I know where I'm hanging out. So we can create just this enthusiasm of going to the bed before we ever introduce the pressure. Then when we introduce the pressure, it only makes the game more fun, right? So on level 1 of the game, we're going, place! Oh, you beat me, right? So she's really good at winning level 1 because she's faster than me. She can run to the place bed faster than I can. And we can start to do this from all over the place. So we can go, free! So we can go over here. We can go, place! Right? And we start to do it from different angles. And again, the timing is important. So I want to give her her release. I'm going to tell her place before I start moving to the bed. Free! So the word place is going to predict that I'm going to go to the bed. Place! Good job, right? And you saw there, I was ahead of her, right? So I gave her a sense of urgency just by being ahead of her. Say, hey, I'm going to beat you there. And she says, oh, no, you not. Sorry, oh, no, you aren't. I'm going to get there first. And she did, right? She's always going to win. But think about this. Video games are only fun because the levels get harder as you get better at the game. So that's why we want to introduce concepts of things like pressure with the leash, with the e-collar, with adding distance, with adding distractions. So this is just the beginning of creating more intensity for these behaviors. The first is making sure she has a really good understanding of the behavior, understanding the routine of when we use this behavior. So like we use it inside the house. We come in the front door, we go to our place bed, or we come out of the crate, we go to our place bed, right? These are times when we should see our dog going to the behavior with a lot of enthusiasm and intensity. Now, granted, if I'm going to be hanging out in the house for a while, I don't want my dog staying there with intensity for half an hour or 45 minutes because they're going to get restless, they're going to get, bored, and we're going to lose that intensity. But for things like place, that's not a bad thing, right? I want my dog comfortable laying on place for a long period of time, regardless of what's going on around them, right? Things like heel. Heel is a very intense behavior. The more intensity we have in that behavior in a correct position, the more reliable that behavior is going to be. Same thing with sitting in that heel position, right? Sit is not generally something I use for a long period of time, so I do want it when we do it, I can expect a very high intensity sit behavior because I don't expect my dog to stay in that seated position for a long time. If I'm going to do a stay, that would be for a longer period. Maybe, we meet up and, are at a coffee shop and I want my dog to just chill out while we drink some coffee for 5 to 10 minutes. I'm probably going to put my dog in a down, right? I'm not going to expect my dog to sit for longer than a couple minutes. But that being said, we can increase our intensity in things like our sit. We can also do intense down behaviors as well. But again, it's about what's most important to you. Do I need my dog to be able to do a really fast down in motion where I'm just walking and I give my dog a down command and they down really quickly? For me, for my dogs, yes, it's because it's something we do in competition. But on a day-to-day basis, do I need that? No. What I probably need for my pet dogs, from our dog clients, is a dog who, when I tell them down, are able to lay down and relax calmly for a long period of time. So, just a little quick overview of how we're going to start to increase a little bit more intensity in these behaviors, but still being cautious not to jeopardize our stability in these behaviors. As you can see, we have a very good place stay. She can stay there for as long as we want her to. We use it quite often in our daily routine, but we can now start to introduce a little bit more intensity because it is such a stable behavior. But yeah, I just wanted to do that. If you have questions, let me know. There you go, girl. I know, it's hot out. Heel.